and it says on the cover, "Pray that they are hungry." That's not ominous at all. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of another weekly vlog, and I've got no idea what I'm reading because tomorrow is the 24-hour readathon, which I've already got 4 books chosen for that. So I need to decide, do I start a new book and then put it on hold for tomorrow, or do I go with like a short book? I've got no idea, so let's have a quick look because the last 2 weeks we've barely read anything. So we've got a couple weeks left of October and I still have pretty much all of my TBR to read. As we know, the first week of October I was very ill, I barely read anything, I just could not concentrate. Then last week I was on holiday and I thought I would get loads of reading done, but that didn't actually happen. So we do have Zelda to continue reading, which I have started, so maybe I'll just focus on reading a little bit more of this today rather than starting a brand new book. But on top of that, we still have The Bullet That Missed, which is a buddy read, and I need to message Christina to find out when she would like to start that. The Mystery of the Yellow Room, Tokyo Ghoul Volume 7, that's another contender because that'll be a quick read today. A book that you have chosen, which ended up being Dark and Shallow Lies. Dracula I've read, and Classic Tales Horror I gave up on. So okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books to read. One of them is definitely getting read, I just don't know when I'm starting that, and that's the buddy read, The Bullet That Missed. And then that leaves us with 4 other books. I think what I'm going to do today is decide between reading Tokyo Ghoul Volume 7 or just continuing on with Zelda. And then tomorrow we have the 24-hour readathon, which will be a whole separate video, and that should have come out before this one anyway. That's the plan. We'll see what happens. I've literally just wrapped up last week's vlog, the holiday vlog, and I am meeting my partner. I've got editing to do. It's going to be quite a busy one, so I really don't know how much reading I'll even get done. So maybe the manga is the way to go. We'll see. I'm really hoping that this week we can at least make good progress. Obviously I've got the 24-hour readathon tomorrow, so I know I'm definitely going to be getting a book read then. And then I guess it would just depend on that buddy read actually when we're starting that as to what I then read. I don't know, I guess we're gonna see. Sorry, this was a bit of a chaotic opening and it's gonna be quite a short one because I have quite a bit to do and I don't have any reading updates for you, so... Oh, let me even say what Zelda's about. So Zelda is the non-fiction book for the month, and this is by Nancy Milford, and this is all about Zelda Fitzgerald's life, the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald. I did start this when I was on holiday and I got up to chapter 5, and the first section was literally just talking about Zelda's family, her on a lineage of like her grandparents, her parents, what they all did and do, and the fact that when Zelda was growing up she was this very wild and reckless girl. She would wear a flesh coloured swimsuit just to make it look like she was swimming nude and leave it up to people's own decisions as to whether she was or not. Like, she'd be very coy like that. She used to love stringing boys along, and you can see straight away, because we do meet Fitzgerald at the start of this, where they get engaged, at how toxic that relationship actually is. And so this is very interesting, but it is a really slow read because the text is absolutely tiny, and so this takes a lot longer than what I think. Maybe I will continue on with this one actually. I did really enjoy it. Maybe even if I just read another like chapter or 2, that would be good. I would like that because we've literally, where I left it, it was kind of a bit of a cliffhanger for me because it was like they've just broken off their engagement, and I know they later get married, but I really want to know how this all develops, and it's really interesting. I do find a non-fiction book is one of those things, like I will read it slower, but it's really interesting, especially if you get something that you're genuinely invested in. So like this was really interesting to me because I found out that Fitzgerald used portions of Zelda's diaries in his books, and then they had a big fight over it. It was almost like a legal battle involved. Then she gets put in a mental asylum and then it burns down. So like there's so much surrounding it, so it really piqued my interest. So I definitely wanted to learn more. So I'd love to actually read a bit more of this. So maybe that. Or maybe Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is a manga which is kind of like a light horror manga. We're following a main character who has one foot in the human world, one foot in the ghoul world, which I've said every single time. They're like zombies. They look like humans, but they need to eat human flesh to survive. And we have our main character who's in this very unique position where he looks at both worlds. I do enjoy it. It's a nice, light, fun read, zero commitment, and I remember the plot line of it really well, so it doesn't matter that it's been a couple of months since I read the last volume. And even if I did need a refresh, they're so quick to read because it is manga and it's actually quite short ones, so it probably takes about 40 minutes of my time, to be honest. So maybe I'll do both. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. I've got so much to do today. So I need to get cracking, especially because I've got all the editing to do of the holiday video, and I know it's going to be a long one just because of all the like little clips that I filmed of things that we were doing. So that's going to take a bit longer to edit, but I did have a really good time. It was a great holiday. I really, really enjoyed it. So I need to get all of that done and potentially some filming because of things that are happening and stuff. We'll see. I've got a lot to do today. I hope you are all doing well, and yeah, let me know what you've been up to, what you're reading. I do have a Discord now, which I will have linked below if you want to have a bit more of like a how are you all doing, like general chit chat in between these videos. And also it was up for the 24-hour readathon, where we can all just chat about the books that we are reading for it, how we're finding it, and just little things just to have that little bit more of a community based. So if you're interested, the link is in the description below. But okay, I've rambled. I've got to go. Future Kirsten popping in here because I want to talk to you about Magic Mind. Now, if you watched my 24-hour readathon, you'd know that I'm currently working with them. They are a company that does an amazing little productivity shot, and I have been having this since Sunday, and I can honestly vouch for the boost of productivity. I feel so energized, and I don't need my coffee. In the 24-hour readathon, I talk about why this all works and everything, but this time I want to focus on their challenge that they have. So they have a 14-day challenge, 14 days of magic, where they challenge you to drink this for 14 days, make content around it, post it with the hashtag 14 days of magic, and for every 10,000 views that hashtag gets, they will donate $10 to the reforestation of the Amazon rainforest. And I think that's such an amazing cause. Deforestation is such a prevalent thing at the minute. It's so important, and even just at the minute, it's been going on for a long time, but it's great to see companies like this that take on this initiative to actually help with the reforestation of it. Now, alongside the challenge to actually drink Magic Mind for 14 days and see the differences, they are also doing an extra kind of side challenge with that, where they challenge you do something positive. So 3 things. Now, this could be make a positive impact on the environment, such as recycle more, maybe eat less meat. It could be make a positive impact on other people, or make a positive impact with yourself. Now, I've gone for this last one. I have to admit, I was feeling really, really burnt out. And even with my holiday in Thailand, it was lovely. It was great to get away, but we did so much that I never really got that chance to just relax. And so I'm using this excuse of working with Magic Mind to challenge myself for 14 days, all about looking after myself. So the 3 challenges that I've set: 1, make time for myself every single day. And by that I mean stop working. I work full time, but on top of that I do YouTube, and that means that I just don't take a break. I am constantly doing something. I'm constantly creating content. I'm constantly editing. I don't stop because I feel like if I'm not doing something, I feel guilty because I'm like, I need to do something for you guys, or it's just a constant thing. So instead, part of that challenge is to actually take that break and leave work behind, even if it's just for an hour a day, to do that. So far it's been going pretty well, but I have been off from work, and today is my first day back at work, so we're going to see how that balances out with still trying to get some content work done, still managing to take a break, but also working. We're going to see if that works. This second challenge is to write down 3 positive things at the end of my day that have happened. And I'm doing it in this beautiful Sailor Moon notebook that I picked up in Thailand. And it's literally just writing down 3 things that I've been happy about, grateful about, just 3 positive things that I can take. And the reason why that is just to help with my mental health with everything. Times I can feel a little bit down, and this just reminds me at the end of the day that something positive has happened in that day. So that's the second one. And then the last one is to just quit coffee for the next 14 days. Well, from Sunday. Magic Mind do state that you can have this alongside your morning coffee and then you won't need any more coffee throughout the day. But what I've decided to do is just completely stop coffee for 14 days. So far it's been going pretty good, I have to admit. Magic Mind, they really do curb that need for coffee. So that's the challenge. If you would like to take part in creating content, try a Magic Mind for 14 days. 1, use the hashtag 14 days of magic, and 2, use my discount code to get 20% off your first order with Magic Mind. The discount code is Readingearthnymph14. I will have it in the description below as well as a link you can use. So thank you once again to Magic Mind, and now it's time for my morning shot. This time I'm actually mixing it with a bit of oat milk. I've been having them just straight and I like it, but I want to see if I prefer it with a bit of oat milk. Ew, that just looks like a nice iced matcha latte without the ice. Or you know what? With oat milk, the best decision. Just finished my 24-hour readathon, which that video will already be up, but I wanted to update what I've read. So Monday evening I did actually read Tokyo Ghoul Volume 7, and this one was definitely a lot more darker and gory. So we're at the point where our main character was taken hostage and you see him undergo a lot of torture, and you have his friends from the coffee shop that want to come in and rescue him, and that's what this one was about. It was a very dark read. The artwork in it is amazing as always, and this was a really quick read as well. It took about 40 minutes. But yeah, I really like it. I'm really intrigued to carry on with this series, and as I've said all the time, manga for me is a nice light way to break up my reading, which was actually perfect for then going into the 24-hour readathon, which I'm not going to talk about too much because obviously I do have a whole video on that. From that readathon I still have 80 pages left of Frankenstein to read, which I plan on focusing on today and just getting that read, and then I'm going to change it up and read something a bit different. I'm undecided whether I'm going to go for like a murder mystery classic one that I've got, or whether I'm just going to change completely and go with the YA thriller for the month, just to have a break from classics for the rest of the week. Haven't quite decided. We'll see where my mood takes me tomorrow. But part of my challenge, which I've already spoken about, where I'm working with Magic Mind, one of the challenges I gave myself is to have time for myself every day where I'm not focused on work or editing or something, where I take that time to relax. And on Monday I decided to head out with my partner. He was going to work, so we decided to meet up for lunch before he had work, and then I treated myself to a little bit of book shopping and stuff, just to give myself a few hours away from the editing that I was doing. And yeah, I ended up buying books. 4 books to be specific. So I'm just going to whiz through these really quickly because my haul video, which will be coming up later in November, I'll do these a bit more in depth. But we have Agatha Christie, The Body in the Library, which is the next book in the Miss Marple series that I'm really hoping to read. The Murder at the Vicarage probably next month now, and so I've got this one ready for after that. I actually love this cover. Look how beautiful and pink that is. Absolutely fantastic. Really excited. I don't think I need to explain what Agatha Christie is. It's murder mystery. She is the queen of it. Can't wait. Keeping with the Agatha Christie theme, I also picked up The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont, and this is all about Agatha Christie, about when she disappeared for 11 days and how there is Nan O'D who knows everything that happened. And she kind of wanted to set out with being very against Agatha, but instead they end up working together, and I don't know, it just seemed really interesting. It said Christie, and it was about Agatha Christie. That's kind of all I needed to know. But yeah, I'm excited to read that one, obviously, because I bought it. I also picked up The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. I read Nettle and Bone by them and absolutely loved the writing, the world building. It was just fantastic. And I have heard that T. Kingfisher, every single one of their books is slightly different, and so I decided to go with this one. This one is a bit more of a darker thriller, I believe. I don't really want to know too much about it. I know I like their writing, I know I like their world building, and that's kind of all I want to know, but it's definitely a creepy one. Like, that cover is very creepy, and it says on the cover, "Pray that they are hungry." That's not ominous at all. And then the last one I picked up is Daughters of Sparta by Claire Hayward, and this is yet again another Greek mythology retelling focusing on Helen and Clytemnestra. And I've read a lot of stories. I've read Helen of Troy, I've read Electra, I've read quite a few different stories that focus on that time within Greek mythology, and I saw this one. I haven't read it, I don't own it. That was all I needed. Like, do I have a bit of a weird obsession with that? Yes. And it's actually been a little while since I've read any Greek mythology, so I'm thinking that I might have to do that. I want to save for November, but I've got so many books that I want to read in November that who actually knows, but I'm really intrigued by this one. It says, "Two sisters parted, two stories reclaimed. For millennia, men have claimed these women's tales, but now it's time to hear their side of the story." There's been a lot of books coming forward where it's looking at the female perspective of the Greek mythology, and I'm loving it. Like, I don't think you can ever have too many, because I love seeing how different authors interpret it in different ways, and that just really intrigues me and compels me, and I love comparing and contrasting the different things that they have taken from the mythology, the different things that they focus on. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to read this one as well. So that was what I did on Monday to give myself that bit of time away from work. Obviously yesterday was all about the readathon, so that was pretty much a whole day of being able to fulfill that, so that's another tick. And then I think today I do have a lot of filming and editing that I want to do, but I think my downtime will be finishing up Frankenstein and just giving myself the hour and a bit that I need to read that, and just making that my relaxation time, which is something I'm definitely trying to get in the habit of doing. So this challenge they gave me is honestly a great way to do that. Anyway, I've spoken enough for this morning. I actually have quite a lot I need to do. I've already wrapped up one video. I've now done this vlog. I need to do 2 more videos that I want to film. That's the goal today. So we've got a lot of talking to do. To save me from rambling, I'm just gonna go, and I will catch up with you very soon. I'm back home. Today's been a really long day, but let me talk about what I did yesterday and everything leading up to now. Yesterday I did do loads of filming, which I was very happy with, and then I popped into town for lunch just to get me out the house, because I know if I have a whole day here, unless it's for a readathon, I'm going to spend the whole day either filming or sat at my desk editing all day. And obviously part of this challenge this week is to not do that and to give myself time for me and to relax. So went out to the coffee shop, didn't have coffee, in keeping again with the challenge, but I did read more of Frankenstein, which actually, let me grab that. I didn't finish it while I was at the coffee shop, but I did finish it in the evening, and this was really good. I can say it doesn't beat Dorian Gray for me. Dorian Gray, every single page there was something on it that I was falling in love with. The writing was just beautiful. Mary Shelley is an amazing author. I do love Frankenstein, but she does get a bit repetitive and things can get a bit drawn out, and that's what I was really feeling in the last volume. So we have Victor Frankenstein that's chasing his creation because of what his creature's done, because he denied what the creature's request and everything to have a companion, and it's good, but it is drawn out, it is repetitive. Don't get me wrong, I still love this book, it's still a fantastic book. It's just those last few chapters did feel a bit drawn out, and that's not a bad thing because it was still beautiful writing. Like the melancholy, the despair that's described in that is very, very good. I just noticed it was definitely a lot more drawn out than it is in like Dorian Gray. But yeah, it was still very good. Really enjoyed that. The rest of yesterday, after I'd been to the coffee shop, read a little bit, just had a little wander around. I did look at all the charity shops and stuff, but there really wasn't anything there. And then came home and did loads of editing. I had to edit the 24-hour readathon, so I got all of that done, which took a lot longer than what I thought. And then in the evening finished up Frankenstein. Today has just been a really long day. I had to go for my hospital appointment, which was a 7-hour appointment. So very long, but it's done. I go once every 6 months, nothing major, just get my treatment and we're good. So that was today, and I got caught in the rain in the morning, hence the hair. It's a mess. But it cannot be helped because I got caught out. It poured it down so much. And then after about 3 hours in the hospital, lovely beautiful sunshine, and I'm like, why is it beautiful sunshine when I'm stuck in here and I can't leave? But being in the hospital 7 hours did mean that I got a whole book pretty much read, which was so impressive, and kind of works for the whole taking time for myself each day because I physically had to. I couldn't leave like the hospital, so there was nothing else to do. Thankfully this book has been so engaging. So this is Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Mayers Sane. I mentioned already that you guys had chosen this book. I'm not sure if it's in this video or but I've mentioned it a lot lately, and this one is like a thriller murder mystery. I would say more just a mystery because we're following Gray, and Gray every summer spends time at this really cut off town that's filled with like psychics. That's where she grew up, and so she goes back there every summer. This summer she goes back and her best friend has gone missing, and there's so many eerie things that are going on in this town. You have everyone with all sorts of different gifts. You have mysteries and secrets that everyone is keeping that you need to unravel, and I am on chapter 25, page 352. I have got about 50 pages left to go, and I've got no idea who's done this. I have no idea. Things are linking back to more deaths that happened 13 years ago, and Gray's trying to discover it all. She's trying to find out what happened to her friend, but it just feels like everyone is stopping her, feels like everyone is keeping something from her, and it's really eerie and atmospheric. Like, I'm loving it. I really wish I'd bought like annotating supplies. I would have underlined this, I would have written down theories and stuff, but I didn't bring anything. I thought this would just be a nice, light, simple read, but actually I've become so engrossed in it. So I'm planning to finish this tonight. I really don't know who it is. They've kind of decided who it is, but I don't believe it's that person. So I'll be surprised if it is. I do have one suspicion, but also everything that they're saying makes you think, well, maybe it's not them at all then. But I don't know, because it could be the guilt that's eating them up. Like, I don't know. And I'm keeping it deliberately vague in case you want to read this, but this is really good, and it's not something I've seen many people talking about. The YA thriller genre is definitely something I want to look into. I am enjoying this. This is really good. Every time, all the books that I really like have murder in them. Every single time. I seriously have a problem, but it is really good. So I'm planning to finish this up today. I'm also thinking to make myself a macaroni cheese today. I bought all the bits because you know what? Macaroni cheese is my ultimate comfort food. And as much as I'm lactose intolerant, you can get all the lactose-free cheese and stuff, although my local Tesco's didn't have any. So we're going to have the oat milk, but we're going to have normal butter and cheese because they didn't have the lactose-free varieties. So my stomach's probably going to hate me, but my taste buds are going to thank me for this. And you know what? After spending 7 hours in the hospital, I deserve it. I deserve it. Because as much as it was a really chill time and the people that work, like the nurses and everything, were absolutely lovely, I've still had to sit down in a hospital all day. But yes, so that's the plan. We're going to eat macaroni and cheese, well, make it first, and read Dark and Shallow Lies, like finish this, and that's my evening. That's my evening sorted. So tomorrow morning I will tell you my thoughts, whether the person I suspect is right, but even then I don't fully suspect them. I feel like it's going to be a complete wild card and I just don't even know who or what. Like, there's so much going on in this. I really, really like it. Let me know if you've read this because, as I said, I've not heard anyone talking about it, but yeah, I'm sitting here procrastinating because I actually need to change my bed covers and I really don't want to. It's one of the jobs that I put off for as long as I can because I hate it. It doesn't even take that long, but it's like packing for me. It's just one of the things that I hate, and so I will procrastinate, and so you guys have to deal with the ramble because I don't want to do it, but I really should do it. Alright, let's do it. Good morning, my loves. I am looking a little bit like I've played with blusher today. I haven't, it's just a side effect from the medication that I went through yesterday. It does settle, but for now I look like I've been playing with my mum's blusher, which I don't even wear blusher. Tangent. I finished Dark and Shallow Lies and this was so good. So what happened in this? Wild card thrown out there, but also I feel like, was it really a wild card? Because there was little hints along the way that wasn't quite right with this character, and I did notice that, but I never made the connection and just went with that, like, oh, that could be a possibility. And I don't know if that's just because I read this in one sitting, and normally when I have a murder mystery like this I like to take my time, I like to note down who the possible suspects are and stuff and really think about it, and I didn't do that with this one because I was stuck in hospital and didn't bring any supplies. But it was still really well done, and I still think even if I had gone with the person I've been like, it would have been a question mark, and I still would have gone with my initial who I thought did it. They were tangled up in it, but they didn't do it, if that makes sense. I know, I'm being ridiculously vague, but this was so good. I really enjoyed it. Gina May is saying that actually has another book out, so I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that. This was just really good, and yeah, I mean, I mentioned before, I really enjoy like murder mystery thrillers. So yeah, oh, one thing I forgot to mention is that The Tempest by Shakespeare gets mentioned a lot in this, and I want to read that now just to see if there are any things that kind of get pulled in from that into this, because I feel like that would be really interesting, but it's definitely mentioned a lot. I can't say whether it has any direct influences on this book because I haven't read it, so I can't say for sure, but I definitely will be reading The Tempest just to see, and if it does, I'm going to enjoy it so much more. But yeah, this was fantastic, really enjoyed it. And then, well, as for today, I'm back at work, so I need to get myself ready for work, and I have books that I'm going to be taking with me. I say books that I'm going to take with me, I'm not. I've got two to decide between, so I've got The Professor by Charlotte Bronte, but I'm thinking that I might leave this one to next week, because next week myself and Christina are doing a buddy read of The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. So I think what I'm going to do is have that book, because we're buddy reading, we're going to do like 50 pages a day, to break it up with this book, because I have a feeling this one's going to be a little bit more of a dense, slower read, even though it's a short book. And then I think I'm going to take Zelda. So I've been reading Zelda by Nancy Milford. I think I mentioned it in this vlog. It's a non-fiction book all about Zelda Fitzgerald, the wife of S. Scott Fitzgerald. And while I was on holiday, I read the first 4 chapters. I would like to read a bit more of this, so I think I'm going to focus on this for the next 3 days. Take this to work for me today, and then I've got Saturday I'm off and Sunday I'm working, so that's the plan. I don't imagine I'm going to get this finished by any means, because it's got tiny writing, so it actually takes me a bit longer to read, but I would like just to make a bit of decent progress with this. I have been thinking a lot about it, so I would like to continue, but I'm not going to talk too much about it, because obviously I'll probably update you with more thoughts depending on how far I get into it, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in this vlog. Maybe? I know I mentioned it recently regardless, because I did take this on holiday. So that's the plan for the next couple of days, is focus on a bit of non-fiction. It could change depending on my mood, and that's it. So what I want to do today is get some editing done, and then if my cheeks settle down, I'm also going to do a bit of TikTok as well, get that going, because I'm feeling really like motivated for TikTok. I did take a break across my holiday. I didn't even go on TikTok, and then a few days before that I kind of stopped posting, but now I feel really motivated. I've got really like ideas that I want to do with it, which I think I mention every so often, but I think the problem was the formatting. The way I was doing it was exactly the same every single time, and I just lost motivation for that. So I'm going to change up the way I do that, which again I think I mentioned to you guys, but I've started doing that. So I would like to film some more, but we'll see if the redness settles by then. But yeah, okay, I'm going to carry on with my Magic Mind drink of the day, mixed with oat milk. Honestly, I like it on its own, but mixing it with oat milk just gives it that nice mellow taste, and I think hot, this would just be like a matcha hot latte, but cold, I'm really enjoying this. So I'm going to carry on having this, and yeah, probably start editing this vlog, because we need to get that done. Good morning. It's been an interesting couple of days. So Friday I did have work, and then yesterday I was off, and it ended up being a very emotionally stressful day. So we'll get to that in a minute. I did take Zelda by Nancy Milford to work with me. I didn't read a lot actually at work. It was very busy and just did not read much at all. But yesterday I read quite a bit, so I'm now on part 3, chapter 10. And that's page 147. So it feels like I haven't made much progress, because I think it's honestly about like maybe 60 to 70 pages over the last 2 days. But this is really slow to get through, not because of the content in it, but just because the writing is so tidy. That's definitely slowed me down. I think I've mentioned that every single time, but it really is slowing me down. Also, these chapters are really long, which I never really realised, but I prefer shorter chapters. Like, it's a lot quicker to get through for some reason, whereas this is very long chapters. We are at the point where Zelda and Fitzgerald have been married for a few years. They've had their daughter. I think she's about 5 or 6 years old at the moment, and you're just noticing that their marriage is just basically falling apart. The power dynamics shifted from it all being with Zelda being in control when they were in their honeymoon phase of it all, and when they were just starting to get into a relationship with each other, to now it all being in Scott's power, and you're seeing Zelda really struggle with that power change. There's also been a couple of quotes which actually really do show that Scott used Zelda's writing for his works. So on page 71 we have someone that really liked Zelda, and during one of the weekends with them he discovered her diaries, and there's a quote that says, "They interest me so greatly that in my capacity as a magazine editor I later made her an offer for them. When I informed her husband, he said he could not permit me to publish them since he had gained a lot of inspiration from them and wanted to use parts of them in his own novels and short stories. The diaries remained Scott's literary property rather than hers," meaning Zelda. So it just proves that he was actually using them, and Nancy Milford takes time to show exact parts of letters that Zelda has written that Scott has then used word for word in his books, and just things like that, which was, yeah, it's not good. And then we have a part where Zelda was writing some little short stories, but that one of them that was published, Scott noted in his ledger that 2/3 were written by Zelda, and that only the climax and like the revision, like he helped with those, but that the story was published under Scott's name, and Zelda was never ever given credit for it, and Scott was paid for the story and not Zelda. And it's just little things like that where you just realise how much Scott just kind of took everything that was Zelda's, felt entitled to it, and would just treat it as all of his property. It's just a lot. And then also there's a lot of like writings and stuff which Scott has noted that Zelda helps him with his stories a lot. Like she's the one that helps him come up with titles for them, she's the one that helps influence different things that should be in the stories and stuff, and there's a lot of Zelda in them, and yeah, it's just a shame. And you just see their marriage get worse and worse and worse. Like they're drunk all the time, it's extremely toxic, they're arguing all the time, and yeah, we're now just at that point where you can really see Zelda starting to crumble from the pressure of it all, and I think that's what the next bit is going to be about. This is good, it's engaging, I don't want to put it down when I'm reading it. It flows really well. It's just that the text is absolutely tiny and the chapters are really long, so it's slow for me to actually like read, but I'm enjoying the story to it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to carry on with this. I've got work today, I've actually got work for the next 3 days, so I'm going to carry on with this, hopefully get it finished. That's something I'd really like to do. That'll be in next week's vlog. But as I said, yesterday was a bit of a emotional day, and so I treated myself and went book shopping. I was planning to go book shopping anyway. I was going to go to Foyles because there are 2 books that I was after, so I did. I went to Foyles. One of the books I wanted they had, the other one they don't. The one that they didn't have is Beartown by Frederick Backman. Yeah, I can't find it anywhere. It's not in Waterstones, it's not in Foyles, like I even checked with WH Smith's, like they don't have it anywhere, and I looked online and I can't see anywhere to order it. But I want that one because Christina was talking about it recently, and she did a first sentence of a book challenge, and that first sentence, damn, is good. So now I really want to read it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. That didn't stop me, however, from coming out with 6 books, 5 of which I had no intention of buying. The book I went in there for is The Tropic of Serpents. This is part of the Memoirs of Lady Trent series by Marie Brennan, starting off with A Natural History of Dragons. I love that book, like it's fantastic. It's Jane Austen with dragons in my opinion. I love it so much, and I've really been thinking about this book a lot lately, so I've decided to pick it up. I read the first one earlier this year and just fell in love with it. It's one of my favourite fantasy books now, and yeah, I've just really been thinking about this one, so knew I wanted to get that, so was pleased that they at least had this one. While I was looking at Marie Brennan's books, I also noticed this one, and this is A Star Shall Fall by Marie Brennan. I didn't know what this was about, I just saw it was by Marie Brennan and decided to pick it up. However, I've since found out it's the 3rd book in a series. That's not great. That's really not great. But after doing a bit of research, it seems like the first book is set 200 years before this one, the second book is set 100 years before this one, and then this is the 3rd book. So I'm not sure if I can read this as a standalone on its own. Looking at reviews and stuff, this seems to be the best book in the series, so I might do a bit more research and just see if I can actually just read this one on its own as a standalone. I don't know too much about it. I just know that we have, well, from the back, a Royal Society of London plays home to the greatest minds of England. I know that there's Fae in it, which Hello, lovely. The Fae of Onyx Court living in a secret city below London, and it's set in 1757. So it all sounds like it ticks all the boxes. I'm very excited to read this one. I'm hoping I can read the third one, but if I need to get the other two, then I will. Let me know if you've read this one or heard of it, or whether you know whether I can just read the third one or not. I don't know. So that was just because I really love Marie Brennan. Like, I love her writing so much. New favourite author. And then I got 4 books, which 3 of them I had my eye on. One of them was just a complete wild card. And I just thought, sod it. I'm going to buy them. I'm having a shitty day. That's what I'm going to do. So I got For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. I have to admit, the American cover is so much better than the UK. Like, this is not good. This is not good. I don't like it. But this one intrigued me because it's all about a teacher, that things start going weird in this school and you're impressed with his dedication to his students, but then unusual things start happening and then there's murder and stuff. Some people have quoted it as being like dark academia vibes. I'm not sure, but it sounded really good, so we're going to give this one a try. Then we have The Lost World by Arthur Conan Doyle. As we know, I've read Sherlock Holmes. All of his Sherlock Holmes books, absolutely loved them. And when I found out he did this, which was obviously so very different, I wanted to give it a try, but I've never really seen it in shops until yesterday at Foyles. It's got dinosaurs in, and that's all I know about it. I don't want to know too much about it. I know I like his writing. I'm intrigued to see what he does when it's not around Sherlock Holmes. So yeah, give this one a try. Then The Wild Card, which is A Marvellous Light by Freya Marske. This one I've just seen on TikTok a couple times and people were recommending it, and I saw it and I was like, alright, why not? It was one of those days. But this one, it just says, enter a hidden world of magic, manners and mayhem, which sounds exactly like my cup of tea. It seems like, again, we're set in like a Regency time period, but there's magic and everything. I believe it's also gay. Could be wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember from the TikToks. But yeah, I liked it, plus the cover is beautiful, so decided to get it. I think the second book's coming out soon, and that's why there's a resurgence of hype around it. I remember when it first came out, a lot of people were talking about it, but I think the second book's coming out now, so that's why there's a lot of hype. So we're gonna give that one a try. Hopefully we like it. It seems like that's the sort of fantasy I like, where it's set in like that Regency time period, and that just seems to work for me. If you've got any other Regency type fantasies, let me know in the comments below. And then the last one I picked up is Picnic at the Hanging Rock, and this is by Lindsay. It just says Vintage Lindsay. Joan Lindsay. This one I believe is an Australian author. I could have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that somewhere. And this one again is kind of like a slightly dark academia-ish vibe, but it's basically where a group of girls go out for a picnic and then they all end up dead. Not quite sure what happened there, so I don't know. I'm really intrigued though, and I've just seen this on a lot of lists of like dark academia recommended reading lists, that this has been on there quite a bit, so I've decided to get that one as well. So those were the 6 books that I ended up picking up when I originally only set out to get 2. I'm not mad about it though. I needed it, needed the serotonin boost. Honestly, surprisingly, this wasn't that expensive. I was actually quite surprised. I was expecting to pay quite a bit more than what I did, but it actually worked out pretty good. But I think I'm gonna leave it here for today. We'll start a new weekly vlog. So remember, if you'd like to take part in the 14 Days of Magic challenge, then use my discount code and link in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I think we had a couple of book hauls this week, so let's put a book stack emoji as the emoji of the day, and we'll catch you in the next one. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it that thumbs up, subscribe, comment to let me know that you're here. Social media links will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the next one.